a measure to legalize medical and recreational marijuana in the state is rejected.
Rejected by a nearly 2-to-1 vote.
Watching my own network after the last election, I think Ohio voters overwhelmingly voted not to legalize marijuana. What the anchors reported was accurate, but what they often left out was that what Ohio voters rejected was not simply legalization. It was a self-serving plot to let a few rich people have a monopoly on marijuana sales. People voted against the monopoly. I don't know what public opinion is about legal weed. I do know that the most successful anchor on cable TV is certain legalizing it would be a bad idea.
It sends a message. It sends a message to children.
Of course.
It's okay.
And he often has guests on his shows support his position, like members of the Kennedy family.
The two most damaging drugs on the planet are both legal, alcohol and nicotine. We don't need another legal drug. Legalization will increase prevalence. Our youth are at risk.
They're going to target teenagers. They're going to make their money off of people like myself who are addicts. And I just don't think this is the kind of thing that makes our country stronger.
Well, obviously, drugs don't make a country stronger. But wait a second. The Kennedys got addicted despite the drugs being illegal. Prohibition didn't protect them. Ex-Congressman Kennedy advises an anti-pot group now called Smart Approaches to Marijuana. I think it should be called Stupid Approaches, but I'm being unfair, says Will Jones, who works for the group. So educate me.
Legalization at the end of the day means rich people getting richer off of marketing an addictive drug, and that's what we don't want to see.
I mean, there is already an industry, rich people getting richer, illegally doing it, but they are criminal gangs arming themselves and hurting other people.
The illegal industry glamorizes it and commercializes it, and that's going to get new users, especially young users. When it's corporatized, looks nice, and they have, $6 million for a 30-second Super Bowl ad, that is going to get a lot of addicted users, and that has a societal cost.
It's logical to think that if you advertise it, if it's legal, more kids will try it, more people will try it. But we don't have any evidence of that. I mean, in the places where it is legal, look at Holland and Portugal. Holland, weed is legal. Portugal decriminalized all drugs. UNICEF, in a survey, 2013, they ask kids 11 and 13 years old and 15 years old, 22% of the Americans used weed, smoked weed or vaped. In Holland, 17% where it's legal. In Portugal, 10%. Fewer kids use it. They took the cool out.
And it really depends on what numbers you're looking at. You mentioned 11 and up to 15-year-olds, but when you look at the really vulnerable age, 17, 18, 19, 20, use tripled in the Netherlands in 1988 to 1996. From 15% to 44% among that age group. And that's what we're really concerned about. These industries know
when it was first legalized.
Over a decade.
But then it went back down again after the cool wore off.
Not for the vulnerable. Again, the statistics you were sharing were for younger users, and the concern really is not the 13-year-old, the 14-year-old. The concern is the 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old. That's when you're going to be that addicted, lifelong users. They know they have to target you when you're that age to have that constant source of revenue for themselves. That's what we're concerned about.
Did alcohol prohibition work?
It depends how we define did it work. It did reduce consumption by almost 50%. But
increased murders, crime, created Al Capone.
What I say is prohibition is really a false analogy for marijuana, because there we had liquor stores, we had bars, we had all of these things already, and we tried to shut it down. The only place that prohibition is really analogous is in Colorado, where they now have the industry and then saying we're going to shut it down. But across the rest of the United States, it's not a good analogy, because we don't have that embedded like we had with alcohol. We don't have that embedded in the culture already.
All right, you mentioned Colorado. Your boss once told me, just wait, you'll see how Colorado is a mistake now that they've legalized it.
Yep.
It's now 1, 2, 3, 4 years. All the disasters that you guys predicted haven't happened.
Well, I don't know what the supposed disasters are.
Crime,
that we
car accidents, children.
Well, we can say this: 32% increase in fatalities related to marijuana, people driving under the influence of marijuana. We know that 56%.
Wait. When there's a fatality, now they test and they find THC in people's blood.
Right.
And there's more of it,
right,
because it's legal.
Right.
But it stays in your blood for for weeks, it doesn't mean that caused the accident.
It doesn't necessarily, but to say that when there's more people driving under the influence, more people using, more people driving under the influence, it is gonna, we don't know perhaps the exact breakdown of every fatality, how they're still developing testing to see how much impaired the person was by the use. And it's true, it can stay into your system up to 30 days. But many of the people that use it, and it's coming out of Washington State too, a study was just released, where they are impaired by that. And a lot of people use marijuana and alcohol together, which also has a serious negative impact. You know, no, the sky didn't fall, but there are some sobering statistics that we have to look at and say, do we want to see this
This is why
replicated across the
traffic
nation?
accidents have shot up.
In Colorado,
They haven't, right.
They haven't. No, they haven't.
Not at all. Just flat.
No.
Crime flat. The disaster, predicted disasters, hard to find.
Right.